The Lakota people have been tied to this land, and I definitely feel that tie and that connection with not only my family and the animals that exist here now, but with the plants and the animals and the people that have existed here for centuries. I feel a connection with the traditional sustainability that the Lakota people used to embody in their lifestyle. The Lakota Nation was a great nation which realized all that this land had to offer, from the plants which provided medicine and food for us and ways to practice our ceremonies, to the animals which it was a home for, like the buffalo and the eagle, and now the cattle, which we are fortunate to raise on my reservation. In the northern Great Plains where we live, one thing that we have a lot of is grass. This land was really designed for a large cloven hoof animal. Traditionally, there were nomadic Native American tribes which followed the buffalo herd from up into Montana, down into Kansas, all the way as far east as Minnesota, and then all across South Dakota, North Dakota, and even into Wyoming. So there were roaming herds of cloven hoof animals on this land long before myself or my dad or my grandpa were here. Sometimes the similarities of managing a cattle herd and the roaming bison herds are lost, but we really try to capture that in how we manage our pastures, how we manage our grass, and how we let the cattle graze. We try to keep them in a herd as much as possible and reinstill that herd instinct so that they can impact the ecosystem the way it was designed to be impacted. And then we also monitor our pasture utilization so that the cattle mimic the moving buffalo herd, and certain lands are given rest and certain are given pressure at the right times depending on the plant community. Our cattle herd is really selected for calving ease, and we really look for a good solid disposition in our cows. My dad has really allowed me to take part in the management decisions that him and his brother have made about our cattle herd, and I think it really has allowed me to grow as a horseman, as a cattleman, and as a young lady that is confident in being able to go out and do whatever it is that my passion drives me to doing. For me, being a fourth generation rancher is getting to know the first and second and third and fourth generation that's been here just by knowing the land. Whenever I feel lonesome for my grandpa, I can just ride across the prairie and it's like he's right there with me. My grandfather's pride and joy that he left behind was in our horse herd. He also bred our horses for disposition first. That really has been a highlight to ranching in South Dakota, is getting to utilize that horse herd that he left behind as part of his legacy. One of the most prominent lessons that stands out from my grandfather was that, family first. And our family isn't just those that we're related to, it's everybody. And our Lakota culture teaches us that, really everything is connected, from the inanimate objects like the rock and the soil to the animals that we get to raise to utilize those resources to us. And our job as ranchers in the Great Plains is to not mess that up. The Lakota tradition is really to care for everybody. That originally may have been foraging for foods and sharing your bounty with those that are less fortunate. For us now, we get to bring people together over our beef. Our management influences everything that is involved in this circle of life. It really does hold true to the cultural aspect of us raising our cattle here. We live on the Cheyenne River Sioux Indian Reservation, which is one of many food deserts across Indian country. We have thousands of people that have to drive over an hour to get to any form of fresh produce or a grocery store or even a convenience store in some locations. The quality of Angus beef can help to fill the gaps that are currently still existing in our food system, and that's why I feel my job is so important. Being a cattle producer, it's knowing that 30 miles away there are kids that face hunger, there are kids that face not having a meal on their plate tonight. I believe that the current barriers which exist that have prevented economic development on the Cheyenne River Sioux Indian Reservation can be broken down through enhancing our agricultural industry. And I think it is incredibly important to get our youth engaged in that agricultural industry to show them that the wide open spaces out here aren't just the middle of nowhere. There's grass growing there, and that grass can be utilized, and it can raise some of the best beef in the country. And there's room for a career there. And I really hope that we can help to foster and inspire young individuals to go out and to pursue that career path. I've learned over the years that this land has a really cool story to tell us. From riding up onto the top of Scatter Butte and seeing where my grandpa used to ride as a young child to find his cattle herd over a vast 50-mile area with no fences, to down by the river where our tribal community used to be before Lake Oahe was dammed. To me, there's a really unique story that can be told on this land, and right now we're able to tell that with beef.